this morning. Growing reports of missing persons in River State. Another man found dead in Diop, Port Harcourt. Primary secondary schools in River State to resume today. President-elect Bola Tinubu dismisses ill health rumors on arrival from France. Port Harcourt residents speak on malaria vaccine as World Max Malaria Day. On the foreign scene, warring sides in Sudan crisis agree to ceasefire. I am Kala Dakuru Batabo. Remember, peace is the path to the prosperity of any nation. Let peace reign. Good morning. There seems to be growing reports of missing persons in River State. So far, it has been reported in Igruta, Eneka, Nkpo, in Rumolumeni, Odili Road, and Mile 3 Diop, Port Harcourt, as families circulate photos of their missing loved ones online. 25-year-old interior designer Chukwuebuka Julius was last seen 7 days ago. His elder brother, Ejike Julius, tells correspondent Subi Ruari that his brother left his home at Rumolumeni last Tuesday for a job around Wimpy.
I am appealing with the general public and the government, the commissioner of police, they should please assist, because one, he's not a bad guy and he has never involved in anything crime or criminal before. Whoever that can at least lead to recovering him back, you should do. Please, that is what I have to say. Okay, my mom, my dad is late. It's just my mom. She has been devastated, so I've been trying all means to calm her down, giving her hope, but I believe that he will come back alive.
Also, his sister Chinomso said the incident has left the family, especially their mother, devastated. His boss, Prestige Ikechi, also spoke on this.
From the story, when I interacted with his apprentice, the apprentice said they went for a job at Wimpy, and then Ebuka received a call that he should come and take measurements somewhere in Choba. That was the last time he saw him, that he went to Choba. That while he was on his way, that he even called him to ask him money for material. And he said he should use his own money to purchase the materials, and when he returns, he was going to give him back. So that was the last time he heard from him, and that was the last time he saw him.
The police and the River State government are expected to comment on this. Meanwhile, another young man was found dead yesterday in Mile 1 Diop, Port Harcourt. His body was discovered around Okuzu Lumumba Street in the morning and was yet to be removed as of the time of filing this report. Eyewitnesses say suspected called to shot him and fled the scene. The police have not named the victim, but it was gathered that his relatives have been informed about his death. The police spokesperson in the state, Grace Ringekoko, says the incident is being investigated. It comes hours after the police revealed that a man who was attacked by armed men along Labuchi Street in Diop, Port Harcourt on Saturday night has died in hospital. The man was taken to the hospital by a Good Samaritan after he fell and sustained severe injuries while being chased by 3 gunmen. Eyewitnesses say his attackers drove past and shot him multiple times. Our correspondent reports that police patrol vans have been stationed around the scene of the incident. Many have linked the killings to a supremacy and territorial control battle between 2 factions of the Cold Group. The crisis broke out at LHE Beach, Mile 1, Port Harcourt, 9 days ago. On his part, the leader of a local vigilante group known as Job Security Service, Amatari Bepibilade, blamed security agencies for the rising crime in Diop.
It is glaring to the ears that these persons have not been brought to book till today. What is really giving these boys this temerity? What is really giving them this audacity? In a security architecture that is well built, these boys cannot come and destroy the security architecture of the day, and nothing has been done till now. So Job is the heartbeat, and any problem that you cannot resolve in Job, automatically you are trying to grant the activities of River State. That is just the plain truth. The state government and the security agencies should concentrate on it to see how these activities should be quenched once and for all.
Mr. Bepipilade said criminals now operate with impunity.
We are also informed that people were robbed in Lumumba axis where their phones were collected. People, houses have been bounced, house to house, door to door, which I foresaw. And that was why I told them that if they don't do anything, to get to a stage where these same persons will use this as another way of getting their livelihood. and which it is happening today. Now they have deviated from cultism. Now it's armed robbery, snatching of phones. The other time at Emenike, they still kill somebody, a taxi driver. Last night, they still kill somebody at Okozo by Lumumba. I don't know whether the cops have been removed. The cops were still there.
In the meantime, residents of Diob are worried about their safety despite the police presence. Some Diob residents who spoke to our correspondent called on the state government to urgently intervene before the situation spreads to other parts of the state. Still on this, as primary and secondary schools in Rivers State begin the third term academic session this morning after the holidays, some Port Harcourt residents are calling on the Rivers State government not to allow school children to be exposed to the rising cases of killings and kidnappings in the state. They urge the state government to keep schools safe and secure.
A lot of people are kidnapped along Ahoda, Rumuji, Port Harcourt Road. Let government position people there. Police, they road. These boys, they are still hijacking people. A lot of students will be falling victim. Every day, people will be going to school, Port Harcourt to Ahoda. Uniform, many people, even travelers.
We need more securities, and then we ourselves, we should be careful in terms of late night movement.
At least make sure there are securities in the East-West Road, not police. Some checkpoint should be army checkpoint.
If it is not affecting them today, tomorrow it may affect them. Today is for the poor, tomorrow it may be for them. The rate of kidnapping is too high. Even some of us don't go out again, so it's not good. Government need to put more measure, more hands to make sure that the kidnapping issue in Nigeria is settled.
Banks and public offices are expected to reopen today after the 2-day public holidays declared by the federal government to mark the Eid al-Fitr celebration. Moving on. Some members of the APC from the Orashi region, Rivers State, have submitted and identified with the leadership of Tony Okocha in the state. The members who said they are NAPC Orashi Region Stakeholders Forum also commended Mr. Okocha for working for the victory of the emergence of the president-elect. Secretary of the forum, Dr. Godspower Egbono, during the visit to Tony Okocha's house in Port Harcourt, said he has made APC proud for making sure that the party won election in Rivers State for the first time.
Sir, we want to thank you for identifying with the ambition of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and actually working assiduously behind the scenes, and we know with your teaming supporters to deliver Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu in Rivers State in the 23 presidential elections. So we are proud that through your leadership and the support from our integrity governor, APC won the presidential election overwhelmingly in Rivers State. That's for the first time in almost 3 decades of our political history. So this is because you took ownership of the entire process, which we all know. We can proudly boast that our state has a stake at the center.
Also, some of the leaders from the Orashi region pleaded solidarity or pledged solidarity to the leadership of Tony Okocha and called on him to table their matters before the president-elect.
So I am just promising you that the Abodual group 100% with you. So we will not deviate or derail from how we started.
APC members were running, beckoning for us to thank God. But we want to tell you, we the people of Ahoda East, we are 100% behind you. Tony Okocha, we are sure.
Thank you for bringing our name back. Those of us that they moved their name. With the Orashi people, we work tirelessly to work with, to promise that. So our leader, we are here now for all the hope that we are now in the right place. I'll tell our people, as we go back home,
follow who shall be. We are most lucky too to have in our state a man who Sabiro put those together. We are very fortunate.
When he told me everything, I said, okay, let's go. And I'm here, and I believe all the women are with me.
Correspondent Ebio Ruwari reports that Tony Okocha, while responding to their visit and request, assured them that the May 29 handover date is sacrosanct. He advised them not to entertain any fear.
They have shown me love. I'm pleasantly amazed. They didn't come to ask for anything that is out of the box. They came to talk about their LGA and their zone. So on the 29th, he's 8 years in the saddle. So another person takes over. Against the thinking of doubting Thomases, it is sacrosanct, it's a reality. What you can do is for civil means. On that day, there will be no vacuum, there will be no interim government. There will be an elected government that will be sworn in. What happens the next other day may not be known to me.
Our correspondent reports that the members of the Orashi region are drawn from 4 local government areas comprising Abua, Odwal, Ekpeye, Ngeni, Agba, Egbema, and Indoni nationalities. The Forum of Elected Ward Chairman of the APC in Rivers State say they are rejecting every attempt at balkanizing the party in the state by creating parallel structures, as anything done outside the duly recognized structure or organ of the party shall remain null and void. The president-elect Bulletin returned to the country yesterday after holidaying in Paris, France for 34 days. Mr. Tinubu, who was accompanied by his wife Remy and son Sheyi, arrived at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport at 4:40 p.m. to a rousing welcome by APC governors, National Assembly leaders and scores of party loyalists. Addressing the crowd, which thronged his Asokoro home, the president-elect debunked the rumor that he was rushed abroad for treatment, saying he is strong after his vacation. Time for a quick break, but still ahead, Port Harcourt residents speak on malaria vaccines as World Max Malaria Day. Stay tuned. We'll be back shortly. Fourteen minutes gone past the hour 6. Thank you for staying tuned. Welcome back now to the rest of the newscast. As the rainy season intensifies, a biogeographer and environmental manager in Rivers State, Dr. Utiasa Christian, says proper study of the environment, maintenance of drainages, and sensitization of residents of flood-prone areas will help curb flooding in the state. Dr. Utiasa said this while speaking to our correspondent.
Identify lowlands, disseminate this information and the prediction by NIMET and NISA to the people involved. The channels are not constructed properly where it ought to be constructed. It is not maintained, so over time debris is put into those channels and it changes the shape of that channel. It prevents it from carrying the targeted volume of water that it was intended for. Local governments should mobilize themselves and their citizens to be able to desilt these channels. The state government should mobilize itself and give contractors to desilt where the channels are not adequate. The state and the affected areas can construct new channels to be able to move water and reduce flooding.
Dr. Otiasa charged the River State government not to be nonchalant in the provision of relief materials to flood victims. The environmentalists also called for the construction of new dams to address the troubling effects of flooding in the country.
The government of Nigeria must take practical steps to build dams, levees, other things that will be able to absorb water from even the surges, the ocean surges and overflows, together with the released waters from the Lago Dam, so that we can harvest water for different things. Water can be harvested for electricity, can be harvested for irrigation, agriculture, can be harvested for recreation. If you go to Abuja, the Jabi Lake you see is an artificial lake. We can do something like this and enhance recreation and tourism, so that instead of the destructive effect of flooding, we are turning into a money-creating thing.
Now, today is World Malaria Day, and a professor of public health parasitology, Dennis Aribodo, says there is a need to closely monitor the safety of the newly approved malaria vaccine in Nigeria. As you may know, Nigeria recently became the second country after Ghana to approve the Aru-21 Matrix MTM malaria vaccine. In an interview with correspondent Honora Anim-Wobodo, Professor Aribodo of the Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka, said the vaccine will reduce the mortality rate of malaria, particularly in children.
Finally, we have a malaria vaccine, which is specifically for children 5 months to 3 years. So, assuming that this particular age bracket is taken care of, it is a positive development. But beyond the children that are under 5 years of age, malaria also ravages other children and, of course, the adult population. There should be adequate pharmacovigilance to monitor the reactions that may follow it. Of course, it has been tested and passed through clinical trials, rest of them, but it is now being deployed in a bigger platform.
The professor of public health parasitology also urged the federal government to emulate Algeria by adopting domestic funding to eradicate malaria.
I expect government, all the state governments should to muster what I call the political will to drive malaria out of their states, not of Nigeria, because malaria can be eliminated. If Algeria, which is an outside country, can be certified malaria, why not Nigeria? And what has Algeria done different that Nigeria is not doing? What Algeria did was that Algeria funded their malaria control interventions 100% through domestic funding. They didn't rely on foreign personnel, foreign donors like Nigeria does. Train the personnel, sensitize the people, motivated them, and they were rewarded with malaria elimination in 2020.
Some Port Harcourt residents also spoke about the malaria vaccine.
Government need to do something. If they have their facility, they have the health ministers, health commissioners, and set committee that will look over it. And this committee will not be a political body. The committee should always come from the health body. So these are the people that can know what to do to make sure that this issue of malaria is settled once and for all.
Malaria cannot go. No matter how the treatment you give to it, will come at the actual time. Even with the vaccine. So anyhow you do it, it will still come back. Best way is for you to prevent it.
Individual need to keep your environment clean, clear the bush, gutter, measure the water they flow, drainage. At the chemical where they use wash toilet, say let me carry the kill mosquito where they for soccer pit to apply that in to help the society.
Nigeria has Africa's highest malaria death rate with an estimated 100 million malaria cases and over 300 deaths or 300,000 deaths recorded annually. The Aru-21 vaccine, developed by the University of Oxford, is an improved version of the Aru-TSS vaccine approved by the World Health Organization. This year's theme for the World Malaria Day is Time to Deliver Zero Malaria, Invest, Innovate and Implement.
And now, we'll bring you news from around the world.
Sudan is waking up to a 72-hour ceasefire, which took effect at midnight on Monday. It is at least the third suspension of fighting since violence erupted this month, but the orders did not hold. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said an agreement had been reached between the army and the paramilitary rapid support forces after 48 hours of negotiations. On the news this morning, you heard there are growing reports of missing persons in Rivers State. Another man was found dead in Port Harcourt yesterday. Primary and secondary schools in Rivers State has resumed for the third term academic session today after the holidays. President-elect Bola Tinubu has dismissed ill health rumors on arrival from France. Port Harcourt residents have spoken on malaria vaccine as World Max Malaria Day. On the foreign scene, warring sides in the Sudan crisis have agreed to a ceasefire. The news was edited by Choma Zawan for cloudy weather in Port Harcourt this morning. Peace is the path to the prosperity of any nation. Let peace reign. I am Kalada Korubatable. Good morning. Morning Crossfire continues with Ifemi Andrew. Stay tuned.